Yo, check, check, check. Mike check. Welcome back to another episode of Three the Hard Way. It always starts out with two of us, but it's all good. Our brother is coming, but that's Torrin. I'm Charles. Um, Chris is rushing there from the airport, but he'll be joining us, man. But before we get into topics, man, I think, I just want to check, let's do a check-in, bro, because part of I think the appeal of the show, at least from what I've heard, the feedback that I've gotten, is that people have loved seeing three black men who often don't agree, but the camaraderie and kind of how we still take care of each other and push each other intellectually, man. So with that being said, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, brother. Thank you for asking, and shout out to the people out there, man. Things are holding steady, man. Got a lot of good projects lined up. I have a lot of good things going on, but I'm good, man. Healthy, psychologically sound. I'm straight, brother. How about yourself?
Man, I'm good. Same. I think when I almost chose the topic for me was almost around being like a black CEO or leader or entrepreneur, which both you and I are like what we are. And I just don't see enough real conversations about it. Like normally, when I see it on X or TikTok, it's somebody playing a role of guru or you just got to do this or whatever. And it's like we do this every day. And I think we're both pretty good in our respective fields, and it's still a level of navigation that is tough and things we can glean from each other. But what's just how you feel about that?
You know what, man? I tell people like this all the time. I know you're in a city that's pretty well known. I'm in a city that has a lot of glitz, I'll say it like that. And according to what, if you listen to social media, everybody on social media is a billionaire. Everybody on social media
Right.
is never has any social issues. Everybody on social media never has any business issues. And I'm here to tell you, people, there is a lot of unsexy stuff that goes along with this stuff that people don't see behind the
Right.
scenes. That you know, that people want to pretend like it doesn't exist. But if you really are about this, you're going to see that. And I think sometimes people who are successful or give you the appearances of being successful don't do people a disservice by not talking about that,
Bruh.
because it's not real.
Bruh.
That's the way I feel
Yeah.
about it.
I mean, as an entrepreneur side of me, I can talk about today, right? We was kind of checking in. Like today started up at 4:35. Had to do some treatments. There's a show that I'm helping produce with a colleague, and actually the one that's coming on. And got to go make sure things are straight, double check things, and then I still have a company to run. So like, I think when I hit you earlier, we were trying to get this stuff out. I was like, man, I gotta take a nap, man. Like, but when you're an entrepreneur, some days you working from 6 a.m. and I got some more videos to cut tonight from my actual company. I'll probably be done around 11, and that's like with like 2 hours in between where I probably wasn't working, or getting food. So that's how it is sometimes. But it feels good because it's for me and it's my thing. So I think it's something to be gleaned there, bro.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what needs to be more. I think people need to see more of that, and I think people who are working or have their own businesses need to be honest about that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I think here's the thing. I think the people who are really doing that work, they're not on social media. They're there, they use it as a tool. But the people who are trying to sell you that dream, like you said earlier, they got that's basically their gig, trying to sell you this perfect life and sell you this dream and everything. But it's not like that. Like I'm up at 6. I get coffee. I work out, and then I jump right into it. I was up today. I was out the door from 7, got back around like 5ish and stuff, with no breaks. Took a shower. Didn't even have a
Right.
chance to shave. You know what I mean? I look at here. I'm looking rough and everything. That ain't
You like
normally
a
my
man at
thing.
work, brother. You like a man at work.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I can clean it up for the pictures and stuff, but this is what it is. You know what I mean?
Man, I appreciate that, man. But yeah, but I think that even rolls into some of these topics today, right? And I think one of the topics, this first topic that we got, I was watching this young man. Listen, I try to, how you scroll in and you come across stuff. I came across this story of this young man. You got to be early 20s. Had a baby with a young lady. It didn't go well and went sour, but he's documenting going through like the process at court, and you could actually tell how much he wants to be in his kid's life, and how it's a joke to some to the I don't want to throw the young lady under the bus because I'm not seeing her responses, but he'll start out before he goes to court, and he'll let you know what happens after he comes out. And like, I'm watching this stuff, Torrin, I'm like emotional for this kid because one, the stereotypes against young black men when they make babies and what they are and who they are, and they don't have this desire to be a father. Two, like this is a young man that he's like in tears. Like he's so frustrated by the court system. He's trying to do this the right way. He's trying to keep his you know when you see a man and they like trying to hold something back because and this young man couldn't see his kid, but there's been an update and I like to share it this video to kind of bring it up to speed.
What's good, family? I have amazing news. As y'all can see, the car seat is turned around and my beautiful baby is in the car seat. I deleted my last video because there is a gag order in place, which meaning I can't talk about anything that's going on in court, and I respect my lawyer enough, and she tells me everything I need to know. So I did take that video down because it was really the fight is about my baby. My baby is home. I get to see my baby, and I got 8 days with my baby. I get to make up time with her. So we finna enjoy our time. We just made it back to my mom's house. We finna get out, and I'm finna show y'all my beautiful baby. Hold on. You ready to my daddy? Hi, Papa. Hi, say I'm home with you, my daddy. Hey, Naomi. We made it. Oh. All right, y'all. We at my mama's house, but I kind of got to calm down because she's still trying to get to know her. She been crying, but it kind of hurt because it's like my baby don't even know who I am, but I'm going to build that connection. I'm going to build that bond. So it's okay. I got my baby home. I can't wait to build the connection. My family is going to build that connection with her, and she's going to know who her family really is. So from here going forward, y'all will see me making content with my baby and us growing our relationship. So I love y'all. This is the update for the day. I got my baby for the whole week all the way into Saturday. So it's going to be a great week. Let's get it.
So I've just been watching this young man on this journey. You see it got 7.2 million views. And Torin, like, I was like emotional watching it because I watched him go through this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I watched him fight. And when he said, man, my baby don't know me, like it kind of crushed me. But it brings me to this larger conversation. And there's a lot of criticism that young people get. So when I actually see a young man like this stepping up, doing everything, fighting, like this is how you fight. Like you don't give up. He's fighting to see his kid. I didn't do a good job preparing this tour because I don't have like a crazy question for it. I just wanted to start the show off with that. But just what are your reactions to it, man? And just from what you may have heard, or if you have seen, I wish I still had some of the other videos. I get why he had to take them down because it was very raw emotion, and I get a judgment like we're not about to turn this into a circus. But you in your position as a reporter, as a journalist, as somebody who loves us as Black people and especially young Black men, and you give a lot of game to young Black men, what does this video say to you?
You know what, honestly, brother, it doesn't really say anything to me that I don't already know. I know that is more the rule than the exception. But if you look at the media narratives that have been going back since the 1960s, that'll tell you that that's the exception to the rule. But no, man, look, I love data. And if you look at data from the CDC and if you look at data from the NIH, it mostly shows that Black men tend to be the most involved fathers, whether they're in the household or outside of the household. The data shows that they raise their children, they bathe them, they dress them, they read to them more than any other group of fathers, whether they're inside the home or outside the home, whether they're in a relationship or outside of a relationship. And really, most of us know this. Most of us know this story. The sad thing about this that most of us also know the other story, where you have fathers who are trying to be active or trying to figure out how to be active in their child's lives, and there's either legal barriers or there's barriers from the other party that won't allow that child to see that. I mean, look, we've all heard these stories. We don't like to talk about it in the Black community, but I think the time is starting to pull the wool off a lot of that stuff and be real about it. There's a lot of men who were considered deadbeats and considered sorry because that was the narrative that the mother told of child because they didn't really have the father in the space to be able to really defend himself. So I'm glad to see that this is happening. I'm glad that this is public, and I hope what happens this starts a conversation about the role of fathers in the child's life, especially a daughter. And it also kind of pulls away some of these narratives that are going to sell. Those narratives are always going to be there because there's almost 60 years of ingrained indoctrination to make sure those narratives are there. But that's not the case. We know most men want to be good fathers. We know most men want to be involved in their kids' lives, especially when we're talking about Black men. And I think people who are invested in that narrative about Black men being sorry, don't want to raise their kids, they need to get out of that. But it's also going to take men standing up. And it's also going to take men who are in these positions to be able to have platforms to go to the wizard to do what they need to do to get some heart and some courage and start talking about this stuff. Because a lot of scared brothers in there who ain't got no heart. I've talked about it.
And that, I mean, listen, man, that young man was like damn near crying in one of these episodes, right? Like you could tell he really wanted his kid and using social media as a platform to help him do that. I mean, we talked about this last time, right? How these systems kind of line up, especially against young black males, young black people in general, but especially like young black males around these type of issues. And I think I agree with you. Like I think this is more the rule than the exception. But the fact that it has 7 million views, the fact that something positive is actually something that's catching on, gave me, I don't want to say hope, I don't want to jinx it, right? But you know, because we know what the alternative to this video is. We know the other side of it, and we know that he had every excuse in the world to kind of peace out and make a video peacing out, and that would still kind of go platinum. I just want the messaging around this stuff to change, like you said, right? Like we shouldn't have to be fighting in 2025 to prove that black men enjoy being fathers to their children. Like I just think that's, you know, that's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's real. Now, having said that, I think it's also incumbent on a lot of younger men, because I don't know how old he is. He looks like he's in his early 20s, if that.
Yeah, he looks really young.
22, 23, something like that. It is very, 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 very important as you start in life to be very, very discerning about who you procreate with. And that's for anybody, because a lot of times, you know, look, man, to paraphrase, a child is a permanent reminder of sometimes a temporary situation, and whether that child asked to be here or not, regardless of what's going on between the man and the woman who had that child, the child's well-being is the main thing that should be focused on. And a lot of times people are not mature enough to be able to realize that it's not about you at this point. It's about, even if you don't get along, even if you're not together anymore, what can we do to make sure this individual that we both decided to bring here can have the best outcome going forward? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't do that. I tell the story a lot. I had a friend of mine about 10 years ago. He went through a divorce. He had been married about 12 or 13 years. They had a daughter together. And as for moral support, me and my other best friend, we went down to the choirs just to support him, just to show moral support. And in the state of Georgia, you know, basically a lot of these things are public access. People never really show up, but you sit in the courtroom and wait till your case comes up for child support. And I sat there, man, for about a good hour and listened to the horror stories of dudes that was coming through there and things that were happening to them. And if working in a hospital in the 90s didn't put the fear of God in me about being careful, that put the fear of God in me in the early 2000s. So I'm just saying, be very, very discerning. Like, I'm talking to y'all, brothers, be careful.
I mean,
CVS is open all night long. Go there and get what you need to get.
Bro, no, I agree, man. And I think, and again, but I think this is a good show. In life, you're gonna make mistakes too, and it's like when the mistakes happens, the game's not over. Like, you still got to kind of do what you need to do, and sometimes those things turn into blessings. I am just very happy for that young man. Now, listen, I don't want the internet to go do what the internet does. Don't go dig up every bad thing this young man's ever done. I don't care about the rigmarole of the inner workings of their relationship, because again, it's about that beautiful little girl. And again, for a young man like that, you could tell he was kind of crushed and happy at the same time. But when he was like, you know, my baby don't know me, like, and it's just the fact that matters to him. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to. The internet don't let you enjoy nothing. It don't let you have nothing. So I'm not interested. You can come and tell me he's burned down 17 houses. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I do want to focus in on this. And you're a journalist in a world where journalism is getting bastardized. The practices of, like, you know, getting evidence and standing on evidence and not inserting your opinion. You know, nobody's taking it sacred anymore. And I bring that up because we need messaging. It sucks that even with this being, I think this happens more often than not. It sucks that we have to rely on this type of thing to disprove a lot of what people think about our young brothers out here, especially the ones that's working and trying hard, which I think is the majority of them. I think that people are trying. It sucks that this video has to play such a imperative role in changing how people look at things, but this is what can be the positive side of social media. It's a double-edged sword.
You know, I talk about this a lot, and I think something that we don't get as a culture, there is a whole industry for the larger population where there's almost like a movement in certain media spaces to, like, let's not talk about negativity and death all the time. Let's talk about something positive. There's an old show that used to come on, probably your grandparents used to watch it, called Sunday Morning. It used to come on CBS. I think it still comes on. They basically open up the week with a lot of positive stories and things about people who are doing really good stuff. Black people don't get that, and especially Black men. And I think it would be good if somebody was to be able to do that sort of thing. Like this story is amazing because when those stories do come out, there's a there's this old saw in media. If it bleeds, it leads. There's some truth to that, but there also is room for stories like this for people who are doing really good things because everybody out here, unless you're a billionaire, and we all know everybody on social media is balling out of control. But if you're not, you know, just in case you're not, something like this could really be uplifting to somebody's daily life. You know what I mean? Like the story. Remember a few years ago, there was a story of the younger black man about the same age. Him and his little boy were sitting on the couch. The baby was doing baby talk, but he was interacting with the kid like he was a man talking and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember how the story blew up? The dude ended up on CNN and a bunch of other outlets and stuff.
I didn't know he ended up on CNN. I just saw it online, but I didn't know he ended up in these other places.
Yeah, he ended up on 3 or 4 different major news outlets, and I think he got some really good opportunities that came out of that. My hope is that the visibility of this goes bigger than just social media, and hopefully some brothers with and some people who will see that man's what he's doing and what he's trying to do, build a hedge around him so he can provide for that child. That's what I hope.
Yeah, I mean, and before we move on from this, I mean, wasn't there like a daddy, like a lot of young dads did like a father-daughter dance thing, and it was on the internet, and then you saw this wave of hate, like it was this wave of people that just were like these miserable people. Like, man, these people can't like celebrate these young. Like stuff like that, or when you see like those walks, right, where like men show up and are clapping and bringing these young men into school and things like that. Like it starts off positive, and then you get this horde of miserable people that come hating on that. What's up, Chris? I mean, why do you? Like I said, you're a journalist. Like why do you think that is? Like why do you think that yang always has to come when we got some positive yin going?
Look, man, social media is basically the modern day version of the miserable mean girls of the high school cafeteria. It's like you got people who are miserable, man, and there's people in that world who don't look. How can I say it? I'm just gonna be direct. There's people who would never get any kind of attention or any kind of pay anything in life if they weren't on social media being hateful and negative all the time. I mean, it's a place where they can do this stuff from the safety of their couches and stuff. They can be miserable, they can be hateful, and it gives them sort of like a group. It's like an in group of out group people. A lot of these people don't have any other outlet. There's an old there's an old Beatles song called Eleanor Rigby. It's about this old woman who died and nobody came up to the funeral, and the only person who was there was the pastor, and then he wiped his hands with the dirt, went on back to his life. There's a lot of lonely, miserable people out there in the world, man, and social media has given them a mic, and social media has given them a platform. And you can be miserable if you're using it for good, but people who hate on stuff for no reason, just like the brother who was dancing, the teacher who was dancing and changing his outfits and stuff, and people had an issue with that. People just miserable, dog. And you can either internalize that, which unfortunately I think happens with a lot of younger people, or you can be like that dude from that viral video that went crazy, like that. You know what I'm talking about? The dude that had on the ponytail and had the Bible. It's like, I don't give a what you think. You got to be like that with these people, man.
Hey, man, I was listening to Liberation with Chris in the car from Outkast, man. I'm telling you, that people need to go. That's an old Negro spiritual to me now, man, for dealing with these haters. You can't worry about what these think. You know what I'm saying? Chris, we were just going over the first topic, and I was telling Torin, I thought about Torin when I picked this topic. I also thought about you because you do so much work with fathers. You do so much work around Black fathers. It's actually, if you all don't know, Chris does a lot of education stuff, but one of his passion projects has always kind of been fatherhood. He actually had this thing where he created like a kit to get mailed out to brand new parents that just kind of help, especially those men kind of be on their way to being good fathers. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the video of this young man celebrating, emotionally getting his kid back. I wanted to be able to, did you have any thoughts on it, or just, if you need me to show it again, I can, but I just wanted to know how you felt about it.
No, I mean, here's my thoughts, because you and I talked about this at lunch today. First of all, the most important thing to me is always to use these type of issues for good, to use it for something. And what you've heard me say over years and years and years is I'm tired of Black fathers being invisible. I'm tired of the invisibility of Black fatherhood, fathering, father status. I also told you that today, as we were eating lunch, there were a countless number of Black men that walked into a courtroom today And in that courtroom, there was a judge who presumed full custody for the mother. And that is systemic. That is not, that is usually supposed to be a decision that is made with some evidence and some thinking what's in the best interest of the child. But for too long, that has just been a presumption that there's a female presumption of custody and a male presumption of finances. And then there is a lot of bitter men walking around in this world because there's nobody listening to the fact that, number one, first of all, you're going to say we're not fathers, and you're going to say we don't care. But then you're going to cut us off of any opportunity, oftentimes, to actually, do our father stuff and reduce us to finances. So, how many brothers like you? I would ask you all to estimate how many Black men are walking around right now, not bitter because of anything that's wrong with them, but bitter because their checks are garnished, their paychecks are garnished, and that represents the sum total of what the law and people think their fathering should be about, right? I feel like that's just like this is like one of them hidden pebbles in the shoe of Black maleness that people never talk about. This is like one of those things that people are suffering it while no one talks about it every day. And the number of them are vast, right? And I know a little something about this because just like you have seen me over the years, Charles, like, some things repeat itself in my life, like Black men in education who come under fire and get canceled for some reason or another. That's repeating in my life. So I become the dude you call after period of time. Like, you're gonna have some problems, call me. Like, you're gonna have a whole bunch of parents coming at you, whatever.
I've definitely been there for it. I've definitely had to, you've tagged me in to help out, and I appreciate that.
How predictable is it? If you're gonna recruit Black men into education, you probably just should tell them up front, you know what, there's probably gonna come a time where there's gonna be a whole bunch of people that are gonna be on your ass for like parents or some an employee or whatever. You're gonna get caught up at some point. And you might even catch a case at some point. But when it comes to this fathering thing, nobody pulls anybody aside and says anything. You go into fathering as a Black father by yourself. Men don't pull you aside. Nobody pulls you aside. Now, I'm not saying in all cases. I'm just saying we should do more of it. We should be more kind of like, supportive. Hey, you got a little cousin that's about to have a baby. I don't care how old he is. 17, 25, 36, however old he is, whatnot. And you done did this a few times. Maybe you should reach out. Maybe you should prep that cousin, whatever. So anyways, this is my soapbox issue, just because, number one, we are so maligned in media about not doing the right thing in this area, right? Like, we're not, and no one's talking about how we're being done wrong, like in this area constantly. And also, Charles, you talked about this a lot. And Torrin, I'm sure you're in touch with this, knowing like the communities like you have known them. There is a lot that Black men are contributing every single day to the development of children in so many different places that it goes completely invisible and whatever. There are coaches and football coaches and people working in after school programs and people doing neighborhood programs and people just in their own family, like the uncle that likes to pick everybody up and take them places because they know that they're going to be the only one to show them something, whatever. That's happening. And I call that's not fatherhood. That's fathering. Like, you don't have to be a father to do fathering. And how many Black kids right now are in touch with someone who ain't their father, but throughout the day gives them correction and motivation, either through sports or some sort of formal or informal, whatever. Completely invisible, completely invisible.
Well, before we transition to the next one, man, I have a question for you all. Like, for the people that's watching, right? Maybe there's somebody watching or a sister watching that's like, why we need to even talk about this? Why do we need to highlight this? Like, what it's a lot of these cats that are no good at to make a lot of babies and leave, and y'all trying to cover it up. So why is it important that we have these conversations to actually lean in the facts the way Torrin talks about, or at least say that these men need to be wrapped around and shown support the way you just said, Chris? Why is that needed? Torrin, I'm gonna go to you first. And Chris,
hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Hold on a second. I thought this was a show for smart people. I didn't know that we were gonna take breaks to cater to dummies, right? Because if you have to ask the question that you just asked at home, if you're sitting at home right now and you just was like, yeah, someone should ask that question. Find another show.
Well, they gonna say, well, what about these single moms? What about these mothers that's pulling both duty and all that stuff?
Look,
I mean, stupid knows no gender. Stupid is evenly distributed. It's like an actual research fact that stupid takes place across. So if you stupid, this might not be the show for you. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Pander the dummies. Go ahead and
No,
panic.
no.
Should we care about black men being recognized and seen and whatever?
No, but here's the thing about that though. I know on an intellectual level it's easy to say that, but I don't think we really understand the level of indoctrination that has been pushed into our communities over since the 1960s. This whole idea that, the whole idea of the deadbeat father, the dude who won't raise his kid, that's something that is deeply ingrained in a lot of people. So it's easy. I won't necessarily call them stupid, but it's more of like the fact that if you've been fed the same thing for over and over and over for years, if your grandmother was fed that, if you were fed that, if your child who you may have now is fed that, it's kind of very difficult to kind of unpack that. And if people don't see stuff, look, man, we live in a very visual culture now. If people don't see something in front of them right now, if you don't give them this information right now, a lot of people really don't understand that this is going on the same side and stuff like that. That's all I can say. I think it's necessary to be able to show people and talk about these things.
I think that's true, bruh. And listen, I'm in a bad mood just in general, in life in general.
That's why he was late.
So I told Charles today, like, I'm the wrong dude because I feel like we're at war with stupid. And that smart is too afraid to call stupid. Like smart is losing. Smart is getting his ass whooped. Smart is getting like taken to the hole, to the woodshed, the wood chipper, and all the way there, afraid to call stupid. Now I know you killing me, stupid, but I won't call you stupid. I'm gonna call you like maybe we need to educate you. Maybe we need to, maybe nah, bro. There needs to be one person who says, I'm too old for not calling stupid, and some of y'all stupid. Right.
Well, you the last time you came and gave us a scientific definition of stupid, which I thought was very entertaining. But I will say, but Chris,
there is a definition.
But you just made the point though, Chris, and like the judge. Like I think this is needed because of like the judge. Like you talked about, Torrin I don't know if you were back on yet, Chris. Torrin talked about going to court with his friend who was going through some child support stuff and just hearing story after story after story.
See, I didn't even hear that. And
yeah, man, look, bro.
How the universe works.
I told Charles this, man. It was like, remember that scene in True Grit where people were watching people go to the gallows and stuff, and you just sitting there, you can't do nothing but watching, put the rope around them and back and forth. That's what it looked like. Man, Jesus Christ, I feel bad.
You know what? I'm glad you said that though. Like, if any, so first of all, I just want to go back to stupid is fixable, it's curable, so it's not a lifelong condition. If you ever want to not be stupid about issues like this, go sit in the court for a day and watch the docket, like watch one after the other. Just do it for one day. I guarantee you won't leave stupid about the situation anymore, about what frustrates so many fathers and men. I guarantee you, if you did that for a day or two, just go watch case after case. Now it's getting better. And I just want to say the only reason that it's getting better is because in some places and states or whatever, people name this, they called it out, they advocated, they fought, and there are groups specific to fathers' rights and whatever have got changes, but it's not everywhere. There's some states where you go and it's like it was 30 years ago. You don't need a man. You don't need a man. You just need him to pay his, I mean, bro, you making $28,000 a year, $30,000 a year, and you're getting garnished for like 20% to 30%, whatever. Tell me which one of y'all listening to this wouldn't be angry, right? Yeah. No one, not a single person listens to this. Anyways, I'm sorry. See, Charles, you got me caught up because this is my issue right here. This is one of my issues.
I know it is. That's why I chose it. But I think the conversation, and I get what you're saying about stupid, but again, it's not just stupid, right? Like it permeates through the legal system.
Y'all know what I'm saying right now. We're trying to rescue stupid. No, but that's stupid. Just listen.
No. It's not about rescuing stupid. I'm like I said before, man.
You got to break this indoctrination.
There's so much propaganda about this, and like I said, we're 6 decades into this. This is so deeply ingrained in a lot of people that it's going to take nothing but actually physically showing them by the neck and showing them this is what the data is. This is the outcome of this. You continue this and allow this to go on. People really don't know this because they don't even think about it now. It's subconscious at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, me and Chris were having lunch. I won't give too many details because this person's very close to me, but I had a friend and he had just heard this story about his father over and over and over and how he wasn't shit and this, that, and the third. And then his father found him and he said, hey man, let's have a grown man conversation. So they have the conversation and then he goes back to his mom and his mom basically admits that the father was right. And he's a father himself now. He has had this idea of his dad for X amount of time. He's damn near 40 at the time. Like and he loves his mom and takes care of his like. But how do you process like all this stuff, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like for 40 years, you got to be a victim in this thing, and there's no, and you just get to be like, sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not gonna not take care of his mom. And I think that's why these stories have to be had, right? Like, it was such a toxic situation for this man to see his child. Like, she made it so difficult, like legal, fighting, jail, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That he just was like, and the reason why he did it, Torrin, this adds another layer to it, because he was dying. He would pass away very soon thereafter. So now this young man found his father, and like they connected on a father grown man level. And he's like, I want to get to know this man. And then less than 6 months later, you know, you're burying him. So, I mean, what does that do to you as a man, right? It definitely impacts his fathering. Like, he is a very intentional father. He is very much making traditions and making sure that his sons honor him and like know that their dad would do anything for them. Like, this is a strong dude, like, you know what I'm saying? But like, brings him to tears. But that's why I think these topics are important, because those stories never get to really be heard.
Yeah, and it's very common. And that's what I think is more common than people want to admit too.
I called it something like, I wrote a piece a couple years ago about people talk about first generation college. I wrote a piece called it Sometimes It Feels Like Being a First Generation Father.
Wow.
And the piece was just about how even if you had a father, you still have to reinvent what father's going to be for yourself, because they were a father for their time. Now, this dude you just mentioned, whose dad finds him in his 40s or whatnot, it sounds like he invented for himself a fathering style that he had to invent himself. He had to pull it out of somewhere, right? Like, he had to create it. And this hit me when we talked about things like with consciously, when, gentle parenting came up, and I didn't know what gentle parenting was. I was like, what is gentle parenting? Like, what is that? Sounds like something I better investigate, because I know I didn't have that class. I missed that class. But this first generation fathering thing is real. Like, sometimes you're inventing your style. Not even if you had a father, sometimes it wasn't the one that is right for now, right? Like, for what you do. Anyways, I don't know. I want to bring that up, but I do want to put out a plug, because there's people in the comments who have been with us and around for a long time. And Mama Toya actually put something in there about Tommy Curry. And years ago, one of our podcast groups, actually, they led a book club on Dr. Curry. And I think it was really interesting that they were brave enough as women. They unpack this book together, and it's a deep book. Like, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, Dr. Curry's book, The Man Knot, is the only book I've ever read that details the information, what's in there about the history, the long history of the robbing, the blackmail, of their humanity in the way that he talks about, and he breaks it down. I would recommend the book, The Man Knot, Dr. Curry.
Well, I couldn't have produced this better, because our esteemed colleague in between us, Chris, just launched a new show with the one and only. Let me actually stop. What show did you just launch? When is it? And who is the person that you host this show with?
So last week, I launched a new show on YouTube and on X called the Black Male Study Sessions. And it's basically going to be a weekly conversation about issues facing Black men and boys. And the guest speaker every week is going to be Dr. Tommy Curry.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Wow. We did the first show Friday. We got about 5,000 listeners so far on the playback. I put it up on YouTube, and the numbers are still coming in. And we're going to be doing this every week, because, like I said, there is a desperate need for this information, and there's a lot of information out there about the plight of Black men and boys and the things that we face that nobody's really giving it right now. So me and him got together. We took the reins on this, and we're going to be making this happen.
Nice. Mama Toya just called me out. She said, "Well, Chris, we only had you for a few meetings with The Man Knot, whatever, blah, blah." But the book, I had Dr. Curry on my show and then gave away copies of the book. So I feel like I did part of my job, Mama Toya. And plus, at the same time, I was struggling through that book, because that book is scholarly. That book is no BS.
Yeah, it's an academic book.
It needs a workbook, right?
Yeah, it's an academic book. I mean, maybe like a popular version of it. You know what I'm saying?
Very good one. And they unpacked it. But anyways, congratulations on this show, bro. This is so sorely needed. And
Torrin, what needs to happen, brother? So I'm not even putting a plug in for me. I would love to see you Dr. Curry and Chris on one of these episodes, brother. I know I'm putting you on the spot, brother. I got to get a public commitment for it. You know,
we got
I'm down for it. I'm just not scholarly right now. I'm down for it. Like you heard me just give you a diatribe about stupid, right? Like I'm at war with stupid right now, right?
We got some things cooking and everything, so just stay tuned, and we gonna have a lot of things lined up and everything. So a lot of things on the table. So I'm down.
Torin, you know, brother, we're gonna support you however we can. Somebody just asked you, please start dropping the link. Drop the link. I'll get it up here when you get a chance. We're gonna go to the second topic, which is your topic. But tell me about this Shiloh Hendrix. Who is Shiloh Hendrix? What happened for the people that don't know, and what made you choose this topic?
Well, Shiloh Hendrix, for those of y'all who don't know, you probably seen the video. She is the decrepit-looking white woman who was in the playground. Apparently, she had an issue with this young black boy who was standing on the sliding set, and she decided to basically tell him to get off the slide and also use some racial slurs while referring to him while the child's father was there. It was a video that went viral. A lot of people tried to make excuses for it. A lot of other people who were said this woman is evil as hell, and I don't know why she would attack a child like that. And that's where it sat for about a few months. Well, turns out that as of yesterday, she was charged with 3 counts of disorderly conduct after hurling racial slurs at a black child. So now she's going to have to defend herself in court. And I wanted to talk about this because a lot of what I heard during that conversation while the outrage was going on was about this idea of free speech. And my question is, where does the right to free speech and the right to free rights and lefts come into play? Because even though in America we absolutely have the right to say whatever we want to, we also know that most people know that depending on where you say what you say it, and depending on who you say it to, there can be some strong consequences to what you say. That didn't happen in this case. I won't say what I feel about the fact that it didn't happen in that case, but it didn't. But by some miracle, the law took control of this, and I'm actually surprised at that because I'm actually surprised that somebody filed charges against her, and the state and the city did that. But my question is, where does your right to speak intersect with somebody else's right to strongly critique, let's just say, your speech?
Well, I thought in pre-shows get hands put on you. So Chris, I mean, you were familiar with this Shiloh Hendrix thing, man. What say you? You muted. I can't hear you.
What you just did, I just want to say, is you started off on their turf. I think we got to stop doing that, right? Because just because they call this a First Amendment issue or free speech or blah, 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 we're starting way down the stupid line when we even start with them. Like, we way down stupid, right? Like,
stupid about to come up in every topic, just FYI.
Bro, listen, all 3 of us know that this has nothing to do with that. Like, there's not a single one of us that believes that it has anything to do with freedom of speech or any of that type of stuff. First of all, this happened here in Minnesota where I live. Number 1, this happened in Rochester, not far from me. 2, she's right on film. The dude asked her, "So you just gonna go walk around calling children a nigger?"
So what happened? Yeah, everybody's not familiar. What did she do?
She was on a playground. One of the kids, she didn't like the way that he was playing. She called him a nigger, right? And the dude chased her down like a little weak ass with a camera, filming her. Like, so you're just gonna call him, and this is like a man, like a black man chasing her down. So you're just gonna call him a nigger, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yes, if he's gonna act like a nigger, I'm gonna call him a nigger, right? So let's just talk in real terms. I'm feeling Dick Gregory in me right now. Let's just talk in real terms. That's really literally what happened, right? That's literally what happened. This ain't no free speech. It's a little biatch calling a child a nigger, and then some half man just gonna like put her on camera and act like social media is the way to handle these things, and instead of removing a few of her teeth. So this is the bottom line. This is like stupid, because then it gets out of social media, and people start doing recovery on her right away, to the point where they set up a GoFundMe fund for her, and it reaches like $1 million. So now you get $1 million for calling a child a nigger. And I just want y'all to know, I'm about to still go call a whole bunch of kids a nigger because I want $1 million, right? So just tell you right now, this is my retirement plan. I'm just going, no, I'm not going to do that. But listen to how stupid I sound when I say, like, this is a way you can make money now. Y'all talked about social media earlier around how toxic or weird or crazy it can get. It's weird when we now live in a lifetime where you actually can stop working your little Rudy Poot job and get $1 million because you called a black kid a nigger. And I'm sick of this, like, got called a racial slur or called him the N-word or whatnot, because I just feel like that is all, we're playing in the stupid when we do that. No, this white woman called a child a nigger with a hard R on a playground where this child is supposed to be safe to go play. Supposed to be safe to go play like anybody else. And in 2025, you can't take your child to a playground. And you know, listen, you know, I give the man a hard time who's there, like the dad, but I don't know anybody listening to this. If that was your child, I don't know that anybody first thought would be, I'm going to pull out a camera and then talk real weak to you about calling my child a nigger. I don't know, like, if anybody, are you muted? Well, anyways.
Yeah, no, no. For the average parent, there's going to be 2 mugshots that day.
I mean, are you going to sit there with your camera and be like, well, so you're just going to call him a nigger? Blah, 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 blah. Bruh.
No, I should go into the dentist. Yeah.
I mean, listen, there should be 2 mugshots on that day, like you just said. But even if that's not the outcome of it, when it gets into social media, when it gets real stupid, because now we're talking about, you know, well, does she have a right to say it? Does she have a right to say it? And, you know, blah, 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 blah. Well, listen, I think people confuse. I think you muted too, Charles.
Yeah, I was saying that was a moot point, but yeah.
Well, I think people confuse free speech with consequence-free speech, right? Those are 2 different concepts. Yes, there is free speech, but there's no such thing as consequence-free speech, right? Like you say the wrong thing to somebody and the wrong thing can happen to you. That's how free speech works. Right. Now, I'm not one of these people walking around saying, well, speech is violence. Well, you know, maybe it's not, but there's something called fighting words.
Yeah, and that's actually a legal term too. And that's a legal term too. People don't know that.
I mean, you come up at, well, listen, I'm glad you said that, because I don't want to unearth old business, but me and Charles had this back and forth about, like, you know, Chris Rock getting the shit knocked out of him. I just said, listen, you know, some things are considered to be fighting words. You talk about a man's wife. You know?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people anyway, yeah. And I love Will Smith and Chris Rock, but that was a whole move. But I hear you. But I agree with you on this though, right? And again, freedom of speech is very different from, like you said, freedom of consequence. You can say it. You're not going to jail for saying that. Like, but something should happen. Something may happen to you. Like, shit can happen. Is really, it's one of those statements. But here's the thing. But shit didn't happen. And I think that's the problem, right? And I think that there are people, listen, y'all, there are people that are doing their financial planning on, I'm going to upset black people. I'm going to turn that into a career. I'm going to get paid on that. Remember the trad wife girl who was like cooking, and you could watch. This is the thing though. She came at this like a scientist, right? Because she was like, you could see the moment where she was like, oh, you're going to put me on camera. I'm gonna say these things, like, yes, give me the spotlight. And then it come out, I think she had like a black baby or something like that. Like her baby was like either mixed or something like that, because
brown. And then the white folks told her she had a Jewish nose. So she thought racism was her path to fame. She got famous. And then they were like, you know, your nose kind of look a little Jewish.
Oh yeah, she don't know about that OG racism that got Jews in it.
Right. She wasn't ready.
And then when they did the digging, they found out she had a black baby. It was like, oh no, we can't have.
Yeah.
I don't know. The baby was black or brown or something, right? But again,
brown baby, brownish, and she still kept going though. Like you saw her recently on Piers Morgan, right, when she got into it with Marco Mount Hill.
Yeah, I mean it worked. The grift worked is what I'm saying. But she's now in a different space. She quit her job. Like that's what she does.
The next day, she put out a tweet the next day saying, "Thank you all for going crazy on this because you have just launched my career as a conservative speaker." She put out a tweet that literally said that. She literally said that you just launched my career as a conservative speaker.
And it has to be less, like it can't, just publicly shaming somebody on social media can't just be the thing. There have to be real like there was a time with the type of people that I grew up around, when you said stupid shit, somebody slapped the shit out of you. I'm not saying this is not 3 men advocating violence on a woman. What we're saying is though, but I know certain things.
Advocating violence on stupid.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I learned early on in the playground. I learned early on the playground, you say the wrong thing to the wrong person. Now you like this. You know what I'm saying? You're getting your ass beat. Guess what? You're not saying that again. Like you learn. Like, and I think we're in a time now where people are weaponizing these things because people don't get the shit slapped out of them no more, man.
So I just want to tell a quick story about this that relates to your point. You know, it was probably 9th grade. At the beginning of the class, at the beginning of the year, you get your book. You have to walk up. The teacher calls you one by one. They give you this fat ass textbook that you're not going to read, and they scratch your name off because they gave it to you, and it's in bad repair, whatever. And this brother named Earl, who used to sit in the back, he was really like a football type of dude. I will never forget this because he went up and got his book, and I thought it was funny. I said, "Well, Earl, all you got to do now is learn how to read it."
Earl put foot to ass on you, huh?
I'll never forget. Maybe the reason I will never forget that moment was because I was the original. It was at that moment that he realized.
You didn't have a
record original one.
You didn't have a record scratch moment. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
What all he said to me in class was, "Yo, bro, you don't know me like that." And that was all that happened in class. But it was like one of them things in the movies where at 3:00, 3:30, that you better like find a way to be incognito getting out of the building.
You had a moment from the wood, like
right.
Stacy was coming.
Let's just say I didn't make it, but
But you learn though, right? You still remember it. That lesson.
I learned a lesson. There's no such thing as consequence-free speech. Like,
I bet you don't remember the lecture from that day, Chris, but you remember that ass whooping. That's all I'm saying. Like
no. But like if Earl ever needed help ever again to read, I was more than willing to help. So there you go. You know what's
funny about that? I think this ties into what we said earlier about social media. We are dealing with a generation of, online white supremacists who have never had to go down to the bottoms or wherever to really deal with these people. The old school white supremacists, they were out there with Confederate flags and swastikas out there where there was a possibility of them catching a bullet and everything out there, like doing that stuff. These ones that are doing this now are doing it from the safety of a studio that they built in their house. They do not come outside and do this. And when they speak this stuff, they're doing it at TPUSA or places where they feel safe. They are not going to go down and do that. Just like they feel like we said about free speech, they know not to go through the south side of Chicago. They know not to go through Compton and do that stuff. They know not to go to Atlanta and do this because they know what the consequences are. You might make it out, you may not. You most likely will not.
Isn't it funny how they always bypass certain places?
Yeah, of course. They know better than that. They know better than that. And see, that's almost like that old joke that's almost like when the whole thing with when Juicy created that fictitious tale that he made, and Dave Chappelle had that joke to say, "You're in Chicago, huh? Okay, all right." MAGA hats in Chicago.
yeah. That's not. I don't know if that's happening the way that they said that was gonna happen. But Torin, this was your topic though, right? So like, what's one of the things you wanted to make sure we taking away from it? Like, is it our fault that people are doing this? Like, do we have to, what I'm saying? Or is it like not our fault that they're saying it, but that they feel comfortable saying it and moving the way that they're moving with it?
No, I just think that I think some of this ties into the fact that there's so much distance between the real world and the way people live their lives online. And also there's a disconnect between people in general. I think coming out of COVID, coming out of people automatically just starting to separate from each other and get disconnected. I think what's happening is that people don't realize that the things they say and put out to the world have real world consequences until it comes back to slap them in the face, sometimes literally. And I think that's what it is. I think it's just an indicator that some people just really live in bubbles and they don't realize that this stuff goes out to the world. Now, I don't know what that says about us as a culture, but I do think what's going to happen is, and I'm looking for it to happen soon. We've already seen it happen with a couple of these prank video guys. These people are going to take this online rhetoric out to the world, and the world is going to give them some harsh lessons. And some of them may not be able to come back from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Chris, I got a thought on this, Chris, and Torin. I don't know if it's going to be controversial or not, but here's my critique for us. When it's black people against black people, them hands, they fly quickly. It's a lot of videos of black people fighting black people. But then you see something like this, a woman, an adult, assails a child, calls him a nigga, and you running up with a phone. Like, if you got that smoke for your brother and you got that smoke for your sister, but we not willing to protect the honor of our kids. I'm just saying, my thing is,
No, sir.
I'm just saying, brother.
I mean,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm actually agreeing with
now.
you in
Oh,
one way.
got you.
I'm agreeing with you just in this one way. The reason we know about this is because of the method of taking the phone out instead of doing what you're supposed to do and handle your business. You don't know about all the other ones where there was somebody laying on the ground, not knowing what hit him or her, right? There's some of those videos, the Karen videos, where they show you the aftermath of getting in somebody's face or doing the wrong thing, and they cut, and the cut is to you on the ground, right? You're just not seeing. Your algorithm isn't bringing you the ones where people know better than to be whipping out their phone, right? Like that's not how we're about to handle this.
Well, and listen, and I'm not mad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think two things are at play here. Now, Charles, you're not wrong. The other thing about this is, I think subconsciously, Black people know that in a situation like that, if you do decide to take it there, a woman like that, no matter how screwed up she is, no matter how decrepit looking she is, no matter what she does, she got the full weight of the system behind her. You do not. And I think sometimes subconsciously we know that. And I think, unfortunately, I agree with you that, yeah, sometimes that, yeah, we are quick to snap on each other a lot of the times. But when you see situations like that, I think some of our people do have a mental block in their head with them. If I really do what I need to do, this is going to happen. Look, I know people don't like to admit this, but it's the truth. It's the same reason why you
I would say what the truth is to me. This is the truth.
The same reason why you see it's the same reason why. Look at me. It's the same reason why the biggest ghoul on the block hauls ass when the police cars when the lights go on. You know what I mean? Some of us have that subconscious thing that we just don't know that we can only take that so far with some people. Some of us don't, but a lot of us do.
I was about to say, like, you know, in the moment, it's always hard to say what you would do. What I know for a fact is I'm one of the most peace-loving individuals that I know. I'm not out here trying to do all kinds of crazy stuff or whatever. Something cuts different when you're talking about people's children, right?
Yeah.
It just, like, in a moment, like when it's your child, I just feel like some of the normal rules of who you are go away. Listen, people get in trouble for doing less to your child or for saying less than your child. Right? Like, you're very protective. You in public with your child, you know, I don't care whether you're at Disneyland or whatever, you kind of do a lot of little blocking and tackling and making sure that nobody's doing anything, right? Stepping in front of your kid, whatever. Imagine doing this. Imagine what would be happening if this happened, right? And don't let your kid look up at you. Little innocent kid look up at you when something like this goes down. That'll just break right through you.
And this is what I'm saying. And my thing is, and I'm not advocating, I'm not saying as a man he should have put hands on her or whatever. I want to be very clear.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
El Michelle was saying that man don't need to hit her. I'm not advocating for that. What I'm saying is the level of aggression that
finish what she said though.
She said that Black man did not need to put his hands on that woman. Now, if his girl had been around,
she said I should do it.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I'm talking about the level of aggression that we have for us on stupid shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the Cedric the Entertainer joke from Kings of Comedy where we show up, we come to the theater with the I wish it would mentality. I wish somebody would be in my seat. I wish this person would, whatever. Well, these white people are playing, well, these racist people, not just white people, are playing in your face in that way, and they're doing it because they can. We are not in the days of white people walking around afraid of Black people and all that stuff. Yeah. Those days are different. And there's a lot. All I'm saying is this, and Chris, I think you know where I'm going. This is the generation of people that's stressed over and over. I'm not my ancestors. You'll catch these hands. You'll do this. My ancestors, these ancestors were some coons, and they was jiving and they was doing all this. But we are in a time where people are playing in your face in a way that we've seen that we have not seen, that is unprecedented. And all that tough shit that we got for each other, we don't have to protect each other. And that bothers me. Like when I see gangsters, like when gang members make Black people check in, Black celebrities, but white people just get to move around and do what they do and enjoy those places. Now you sound stupid to me when our Black ass crew is coming through and like, well, you got to check in. So you're going to extort me, but you're going to leave these people alone, and then you're going to talk about racism in the same voice. All I'm saying is we got to take ourselves serious first before we keep preaching to everybody else what we would have did in the 50s and 60s. That's all I'm saying.
And that's what I meant earlier about, like, people know that there's a different set of rules and you try to pull that stuff on other people. If you try something like that on, let's just say, if Uma Thurman shooting a video in your hood, in your block, and she's shooting a movie, you're not going to extort her because she got lawyers that can ham you up for like the next 30 years. And you know that. So you're not going to even try that stuff. But you'll do that to somebody coming through trying to rap or something like that. You know what I mean? We just do that.
That's true.
I wish it wasn't true.
I mean, you know, there's not a lot of punishment for doing it to your own people.
Right.
As a
But
matter of
people
fact,
know
there's
that.
almost a reward. There's almost a reward for a lot of times for like we talked about this in the last show, like for being veto. Like yeah,
Listen,
you
bro.
sell it to your own people, don't sell it to nobody else,
I
right?
turned on TikTok when I dropped you off, Chris, just to check something, bro. The first video was one black woman fighting another black woman because the weave thing that she bought was not what she wanted and did not like the style. And she tried to dog walk this girl. What I'm saying is, if we got that type of smoke and heat for each other, but you letting grown women call little black boys nigga in front of you, I don't understand it. It's not computing for me. It's not making sense. It's like
let's just stick with this one part though. Is I don't think that just because it's happened on one playground in Rochester, Minnesota, that black folks are walking around letting this happen like that all the time, right? Like I would like to believe that if you wanted to go find some other videos, there's some other stuff happening, like some people catching an ass whooping. I bet you could go find those ass whooping videos, right? Like we just won't see them as much because they're not going to make the news. And they're not going to make the news because the people who perpetrate them aren't the ones going out there. Like this one we know about because the dude himself put it out on his social media and tried to make a deal out of it, right? Whatever, right? Call a celeb. But I will say this because this came up when I was listening to y'all earlier, right? I feel like and Charles, you and I said this earlier today. I feel like your social media feeds you what is supposed to be for you. So if a lot of these things are showing up in your feed, I feel like there's you shouldn't ask the answer of why these things are happening.
I like hip hop, Chris. I
actually like because I'm doing a lot of photography now. My feed is full of photography stuff, like full end to end on Leica cameras and Canon cameras and the latest level. I'm also into tech. I actually got so much stuff in my feed right now about the Google launch. The new Google 10 Pixel, blah, blah, blah. I can't get rid of them. I got so much of that going on right now and whatever.
But you know what, though, man? I will say this. I agree with you to a point. But look, man, I'm especially because this happened to me more times than I can count. I love journalism. I love books. I love movies. That stuff shows up. And you can be looking through that. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you'll see a man and a woman going at it. I mean, like, bam, 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 bam. I didn't sign up for that, but there it is. I don't want to see y'all going to Times Square. But
Charles knows this. I got more than one account. I got more than one.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I can guarantee you that there's one of my Google accounts that if I open it up right now, it'll have all World Star stuff in it.
Yeah,
that's what I need. I need a burner. I need a burner account. That's what
it's all hood. It's all hood fight.
I'm just saying, I don't be following OnlyFans chicks, but then it'll show up in your feed all of a sudden out of nowhere and stuff. I didn't ask for this. I'm looking for some.
It's predicting where you're going to go. Right?
Is it the Matrix?
It's predicting.
It don't just count what you click on. It count where you stop at. It's tracking your eyes. Like, oh, okay. Them yams is yamming. Okay,
this is how I know it's good. If I'll admit to looking,
but I ain't gonna go look for it.
Yeah, it knows ahead of time what you're intending to do.
Oh man. Well, as we close this one out, this was your topic, Torn. What do you want how you want to close this one out, man? What's the takeaway, bro?
No, we just gotta make people respect each other again, and we gotta make people respect black people again by any means necessary. And I take that what you will. I'm just saying, some of the stuff that we let fly don't need to be flying the way it's going.
Man, I appreciate that. And before we go to you, Chris, we did it for Torn. Chris, what are some things that you got that you're working on where they can find you or any special projects? Let the folks know, and then we'll go into our final topic of the night.
Well, people can always go to citizen.substack.com. That's my Substack. If there's anything new, whatever that I'm writing or thinking about, I usually put it there first. My Facebook and all my socials, you can find me at Citizen Stewart. And in all those places, it's the same thing. What you're probably seeing more recently now is a lot more reflective photography and micro essays that I'm writing just about a daily topic type of thing. But you also go to edpost.com. You'll find a lot of the stuff that I do there, whatever. Nice. I'm thinking a lot. If you ask me what I'm thinking about a lot right now, I'm thinking a lot. I'm joking with y'all about this stupid thing, but it's only because I have a solution for it, which is right now, I think we're at the apex of the ability to leverage the information society that we've been living in forever. There's a lot of information in the world. There's a lot of databases, libraries, accessible courses and free courses. You can take Harvard classes at night for free. You can take MIT classes in the morning for free. There's all kinds of access. It's the most access we ever had, and it's disjointed. It's all over the place. So I feel like Kanye a little bit when Kanye said that, slavery is a choice, and I thought that was stupid. It really was, and it's still stupid today. But stupid is a choice. Stupid is like a stupid choice. Stupid is it's not a permanent condition. That's why I don't think anybody should be ashamed of it. If you're stupid, you shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's like diabetes. You should just cure it. You should do something with it. And the amount of free information in the world, like it is an open world information. Now, I think what smart people got to do is they got to make that wide amount of crazy accessible information easy to get to, right? We don't have like a one user interface. Someplace we could go and just ask you a big question like, are you stupid? Put in your details here and let's figure it out. Let's give you a test and we'll tell you where and how you're stupid, and then we'll pull all the resources in. We don't have that yet, but we're getting there, and AI is going to do that for us. We need some Negro AI is what we need.
Negro AI.
You know what's interesting? Hearing you talk reminds me of that scene. I don't remember the movie Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
Absolutely, it's a great movie.
God, that was a horrible movie. I mean, good, but terrible in the end. Oof.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Morgan Freeman goes to the library, right, and he's tight with all the security guards there. They're surrounded by all these books with a wealth of information. It looks like they're sitting in the Library of Alexandria. You know what they're doing? Sitting at a table playing Tom. not one book open on the table.
I mean,
see how stupid burns in your brain.
But that's how I feel about phones. Phones. These phones are magic devices that got more information in them than Martin Luther King, Aristotle, Socrates, anybody that you admire for being smart. You got more access in your hands, and if you just choose to use Snapchat, then that's a choice.
And what do we do?
What do we
do? What do we do with him? What's going on with Drake right now? That's what we do.
Right. And again,
you know what someone said, I didn't know that this was true, but someone said that the technology that's in that phone in your hand is more technology than they had to get to the moon. And that messes me up because I'm like, what?
Crazy, right?
What? And I'm up in here scrolling through like Target delivery service. Like, what?
That's crazy.
What are we doing?
And look, man, look, people need to have releases. They need to be able to, have their escapism or whatever. I'm not saying don't have your fun, but what I'm saying is you got access to more. You got access to more information now than ever in the history of this planet. Ever. One of the poorest kids in America got more knowledge and information at their fingertips than kings and queens that held over people for millennia. So,
well, and I'm glad you're making that point again, though, because in a lot of places in this world, with that access in economies that aren't as good as ours, people are working the hell out of that access. Right?
Absolutely.
You have kids and young people.
For some people, it's a family computer.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And they're making things out of it, whatever. But here, stupid's a choice in America. You could be. It's a luxury. It's a luxury. It's a delicacy.
Chris, I need the stupid article by next week, brother.
I did two already. You wouldn't like them.
I got you.
I'd like to read them, to be honest with you.
You know what? I just want to say to y'all, like, I'm just like, I'm sitting in my little, front office, whatever. The front door opens, and like 5 kids, all my son's friend, come through the door, whatnot. Why they all look alike? Why they all like it's like when we used to have cross colors back in the day, there was a way to wear cross colors differently. Like they were all,
But the overalls, one thing would be off. Somebody have
I could pull up the pictures right now, and I had the best curl out of everybody, whatnot. Now they walk in, they look like hoodie monks, right? Like just like monks, just
hoodie monks.
Hoodie monks, get the hood on, like the.
That could be an old school rap group, the Hoodie Monks, from like 1995.
You know what, and brother, the tiny jeans are gone now. I'm glad that's gone, but now it's the baggy sweats. Like,
I mean, it's going back in the circle, man. This is all a cycle.
Yeah.
But
we need to go back to cross colors. Cross colors, so you could
now that we're on that, before we move to the next topic, I want to ask y'all, have y'all seen this? Have y'all been hearing more and more like old school hip hop in commercials now? Because I've been hearing for stuff like Depends and stuff like that, for old people stuff. Like I heard
Deion Sanders just did a Depends commercial and it fucked me up. Do you understand who Deion Sanders is to me? And that he's doing Depends commercials, bro? Get your bag. This is prime time.
No, but I'm tripping off the fact that like these products that are marketed to suburban old white people, they got shimmy. I heard shimmy shimmy y'all in one commercial. I done heard party up and like some kids dancing in the background. This morning I heard that what was that beat? The Apache beat that they used. I heard that like some breakdancing and put some sketches and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm hearing all this stuff. It's like, am I getting old, or is this stuff? Or are they just finding this?
No,
stuff?
no, you get old.
Well,
No,
there's
no,
two
you
things though. It's, I mean, here's the, not to be that guy, right? The bit here goes that, right? But remember like a few years ago, all these people were buying and selling catalogs. Like people, like a few rappers, like would cash out. And so what a lot of these older rappers did, because there's not a union, they don't have a lot of health care, whatever. The ones that own their masters, some of them are selling stuff and trying to get money that way. So all these companies have all these tracks and stuff, and they're gonna use them, right? If you give somebody $150 million, you know, for their catalog, you're gonna use it. So some of that is, we're starting to see a little bit of that too. But yes, let's go to this last topic. So, you know, Chris, our good brother Uncle Snoop, he caught your attention. What's going on?
Well, you know, I'm almost afraid to bring this one to this show with this crew of individuals, because I know what this is about to be. But anyways, so Snoop Dogg, famous long-term rapper and Trump aficionado who likes to do kind of paid gigs, DJing, like he did this thing at the Trump ball, like was like the crypto ball. And what he was basically like, if y'all can remember back in the day of Chuck E. Cheese, when you would go there and they had them spooky ass animatronics that would, you know, Snoop did that at a Trump ball for the crypto ball. He was the animatronic Negro for a Trump ball, whatnot, of which he seems to have forgotten, because he went to a movie recently, a Lightyear movie. I didn't even know there was a Lightyear movie, because my kids are not old enough, and I'm not that young anymore, and I don't have grandchildren. But he took his grandchild to see Lightyear. And in that movie, he was shocked. He said he was shocked by the depiction of a lesbian couple, Alicia Hawthorne and her wife in Lightyear. There's a scene in there where they kiss and they welcome a son. And Snoop said, I don't come here for this shit. Right, reflecting his discomfort with the representation during a family movie outing. And he said, basically, this is going to make him have to explain to his grandchild that women can scissor and have kids, or at least, adopt kids and do whatever. You know, I don't know, like, shit. Huh?
So you no.
Right? He felt like it was going to make him have to go into a sexual conversation that would explain where babies come from, because he's like, you know, I think he said his grandkid asked him,
his grandkid asked
they have a baby or something like that. So whatever. So he got mad. He in the public, he put this out there. It created some tension and some public reaction. He's now receiving backlash. His comments have drawn lots of criticism, of course, as you would expect that they would, and all from the same people. And the inclusion of a same-sex couple in Lightyear is probably not a new thing to parents or to active grandparents, but for him, it was shocking. It was jolting to see that this was in a modern movie and that he would have to talk about it. So there you have it. That's the issue of the day, is that the thing that I found interesting about this is I know all the predictable debate that could come out of this. I'm not stupid, right? Like I'm a parent, and I've been a parent in every decade since the 90s. And there's so many different types of movies that you go to where a scene comes on and you're going to have to like quickly
your
go.
Parents are doing this to you.
I didn't think this through. Yeah, I didn't think this one through. Oh goddamn, you know.
I went to go see House Party. Maybe cover my head. It was just,
I mean, and so for me, it's just like funny that a dude who made his entire career talking about murders of people, he draws the line at two women kissing and adopting a kid. You know, making an entire like career out of telling other people's kids to smoke weed and kill each other. He draws the line at two women kissing. When some of us, for instance, you've been parents for a long time. There's this website, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called I think it's Common Sense Media. So you could go there, you could plug any media in, any movie in, and it'll tell you if there's boobs. It'll tell you if there's like, frontal, full frontal. It'll tell you all different kinds of things, blah, 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 and it'll also tell you what the kids themselves say. So it'll say like maybe appropriate for 13-year-olds, but 13-year-olds think it's more appropriate for like 8-year-olds. It'll say like, it'll tell you what kids think, like if it's age appropriate or not.
That's actually a great site. That's kind of smart.
It's a very smart device, because it doesn't just do one kind of, it tells you whether or not it's going to be sexual problems, whether there's going to be violence or drug use, or even concepts. like negative concepts, whatever. So, anyways, apparently he didn't use that. He was shocked. He was shocked. 187 on an undercover cop was shocked by two women kissing. But anyways, go ahead. You know.
Well, I hope you didn't watch Zootopia because it's full of bestiality and stuff. I mean,
Stop it.
No, but
hey, Zootopia may be one of the most subversive, smart movies of like that. That movie had a level of depth that I just did not expect in a children's movie, but that movie was deep in a lot of ways.
I saw it by mistake because I was half asleep one night and it was on. I didn't feel like moving because I was on the couch, and I ended up watching it. And it was about that movie was about like racism and discrimination and all that stuff. I didn't know that. Same like The Fox and the Hound. The Fox and the Hound was about Jim Crow. People don't remember that. That's what that was about.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, The Fox and the Hound. The old Disney movie.
I was young when I saw Fox and the Hound. I didn't make that connection.
The Fox and the Hound was about the little fox and the little puppet that was friends with each other. That was basically a white boy and a black boy, and the Klan and the black lady was trying to keep them from killing each other. That's what that was about.
Wow.
You know what? Like for me though, this issue, there's two things here. Number one, just in general, as parents, you guys just made a big point. You made a really big point. Is over time, it has become harder and harder and harder to make children's movies that the whole family cannot be bored out of their mind in. So there's got to be something for adults layered into some of these movies. And a lot of these kids movies have lots of adult humor layered all throughout them, right? Like all throughout them, there's adult themes all throughout these. And there's stuff the kids aren't picking up, but you're picking up, and there's stuff that's in there just for them, whatever. That's just an entertainment world thing, right? Like that's a challenge. Try and make a good movie today for kids and for their families to take them to see it, and have everybody like the what's the one where they got the stretch family, the family that stretches, the Incredible. That's good. That movie was like on everybody in the family can sit watch that movie.
Fantastic Four movie of all time. It's based off, but I love that movie. That movie was great.
Good. I mean, the whole series is, whole family can laugh.
But even that had some things in there for adults and everything. Because Miss Incredible,
it had a lot in there for adults. She thought he was cheating on her. She thought he was banging that lady out. Like it's actually a lot of adult things in there.
Yes,
this is incredible.
There's a lot of like innuendo about how good
puberty
it is
in the second one, like puberty in the second one for the daughter. Like it was a lot of stuff.
But
there's a lot of stuff in there. If you're not used to going to see it, you might go there. Like the Freak Out Machine. The books, I don't know if you guys have been watching, but like Toni Morrison's Bluest Eye and some other books or whatnot are still getting pulled out now. The more certain demographic a parent discovers them and doesn't understand them, this is becoming like one of the most targeted books or whatever. When you have shared space in the world, you always run the risk that there's somebody's going to show up and freak out about anything. Like that's just it's hard to have common libraries and common schools and movies that everybody can watch or whatnot, because there's going to be some Karen that walks in and is mad about just one thing they saw. It used to be interracial kissing, right? Like I don't know if y'all remember the story. Howard Hughes like bought one of the networks or something because he thought he saw on the Dating Game an interracial couple kissing, and it turned out it was just a black man with a light-skinned black woman, but he thought it was a interracial, so he bought the damn network to try and kill the show, right?
I remember the story from like all the outrage that happened when Uhura and Kirk kissed on Star Trek. It was like 1967.
Oh, but that was like a historic moment.
Yeah,
it was. It's got its own Wikipedia page. Look it up right now. It's got its own Wikipedia page.
Here's what's wild about that. What I thought was funny when you talked about how people can get up in arms over stuff. It was like the show is set in the future where the world managed to not blow itself up or to rebuild itself after a nuclear war, and they managed to overcome racism, poverty, and everything else. But a black woman and a white man kissing in the future is beyond.
Jordan, bump that. People have full-on relationships with aliens. Like, what are we talking? There's aliens. Like,
Spock. Remember, Spock is biracial. His mother is like a human, right? And his father's a Vulcan and stuff.
Yeah, that's the weak side of him. This just took the nerdiest turn. But back to this though, right? So what's the question about this? Like the Snoop, the controversy.
Like, listen, I know that Snoop is older than people think that he is, because he doesn't age like everybody else does. And they expect, because he's a weed smoker and that he's at a certain level of like just chill with everybody, he's always the chillest in the room, that it would be surprising to some people that he would be straight on kind of unevolved in this particular situation. Because you just expect like entertainers, and especially ones that smoke a ton of weed and talk a ton of shit on their albums, to be that way. So they see him as a grandfather who's old school homophobic, And I'm purposely saying that because I know that he's going to get the defense of this isn't really homophobic, or it's a valid concern or whatever. But I'm just going to put it out there. It's weird. It's like a weird thing to be that obsessed with, and I honestly, be very honest with you, I don't understand like the black male preoccupation with these things. Versus all the other things in the world that you could freak out about. Like you freak out about a lot of stuff. Like I could freak out about you going to be an animatronic at a Trump ball, right? Right. I feel like that's 10 times worse than anything that he's upset about here right now, right? I would rather my kids watch two women kiss in a children's movie than watch one of my favorite rappers do a Trump ball, right? Like, so if one's about outrage, I just feel like we got our priorities mixed up.
I feel like there's some context missing there, but I got you. I hear you. You know.
Let me wade into this one.
Please do.
I think people really don't understand that a lot of black people are very socially conservative. They may be, I think most people really are concerned about the issues that affect them, and most black people are concerned about, civil rights and things that are going to affect them specifically. I think most black people really don't have an issue. Some people do, obviously, with gay people and LGBTQ people, but black people really do tend to be socially conservative. Even with all the other stuff that goes on, most people are really focused on family values. A lot of people are focused on what they perceive to be family values. And Snoop, like you said, is a grandfather. He's he's older. And also, I think people have this idea that I think what happens is a lot with celebrities, people project things onto them that aren't really there. You know what I mean? And I think what happens with that is when you automatically assume somebody who's cool in one way, like you said, they're going to be cool in every other way. And when they're not, then that shocks people because again, you built up this image of them as sort of like, and Snoop has this image. Well, let me backtrack. I think Snoop has basically had the most. I think Snoop has probably had the most rebrands of any celebrity in the history of celebrities.
He might be the most famous rapper of all time.
Not even rap. Snoop is
I'm just saying he's transcended rapper, but I'm saying he may be the most famous person to come out of that field.
Yeah, I think it's maybe Tupac than him for the most part. And it's like the way it plays out, Snoop came out, he was a gangbanger from Long Beach. That was his first persona. Then he moved from that to being like somebody who was like an all-around performer and entertainer. He moved from that to going into being sort of like somebody that mainstream America would love. He was like everybody's favorite laid-back nephew who works on cars and stuff. Old white people love Snoop. Old 90-year-old Jewish ladies love Snoop. And I think people who are getting used to Snoop, it's sort of like they're getting the Will Smith Snoop, not the Fresh Prince Snoop. They're getting I'm the friendly, laid back dude who smokes weed Snoop. They're not getting the Snoop that came out of Long Beach and everything. And I think people don't realize that these two things coexist with each other. And so when he says something like that, or when he feels that way, people get shocked by it, like I said. So that's what happens with that. The other part of it is people got to forget that these people are entertainers and they do what they do for money. Back to your point, Chris, these people, Snoop will show up to whatever for the check. Just like most rappers will show up to anywhere for the check. Snoop don't care about no Trump stuff. Snoop don't care about. If Kamala asked him to come,
well, his man was running the ball. Like his man he's a crypto guy. It was that. He was there with his man, and he got crypto.
If Kamala had asked him to come and she had a check for him, he'd have went to that. They just so happened that they had a check that week, and that's where he went. And that ties into the fact that I think we really need to stop letting these people like Dave Chappelle said. Quit asking Ja Rule about foreign policy. I think sometimes we put too much stuff on these people to be more than they need to be. I need Snoop to smoke weed and sing gin and juice. Beyond that, I don't care what he got to say about the rest of it.
Yeah, I look at this, man. I watched the clip after I went back and watched, like, the way I was getting clips. At first, I thought he kind of went out of his way to make the statement. It was in the midst of a podcast and they was having a conversation. I think both things are true, bro. I think people can be annoyed with what he thinks or whatever the case is and call him a hypocrite. I mean, listen, Snoop also has porn. Like Snoop has hosted like porns before. Snoop has come out on a red carpet with two women on leashes before. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's I think the hypocrisy of who, what Snoop has represented in certain ways. And this statement is incongruent for a lot of people. But on the other side of it, it's also a grandfather who feels that there's an LGBTQ agenda that's being smashed into everything, and he didn't know that was happening. And he could be annoyed as a grandparent. I think both things can be true. I think you can choose to care or not care about either one of those people. but I do think that Snoop has been able to embrace different groups and things like that. But like I said, I don't know. Like Chris, you said this earlier. Fatherhood changes you. And maybe grandfatherhood changes you. I don't know. I don't know if the hardest thing you've ever heard is.
I don't know either. I haven't seen his commercials on the importance of fatherhood. But what I will say this is I've seen his content that he's put out in the world. And it's funny what you just said. You just said a couple of things I think are hilarious because Torin, when you say that Black folks are more socially conservative than people give us credit for, that's something that is often said. That is often said. And it's funny that it's often said when it's the gay issue. Because family values and conservatism, as somebody who has like spent the majority of my life with conservatives, more so far more time than with liberals and so-called progressives, I can tell you this much: conservatism used to be a set of principles that are completely incongruent with all these Negroes, right? Like the idea that you show up one night with two women on chains in porn get up and you smoking a bunch of weed, but gayness is the line that you draw. That's far from social conservatism. That's far from conservatism or anything looks like. That's not conservatism. That's straight up just that's rebranding homophobia as, oh, but you know, we're kind of conservative. No, we're not. We're not conservative when we don't show up to church on Sunday because we spent too much time on Friday night and Saturday night doing crazy shit. We're not. Freaknik is not because we're socially conservative. It wasn't, because we're socially conservative. All these people like ending up with all kinds of different crazy situations. It's only when we want to pick and choose an issue to say, oh, but I'm conservative on this. No,
I'm not disputing you on that. I absolutely believe you. But what I'm saying is, and people, and I admit, Black people can be just as guilty of some hypocrisy as anybody else. But what I'm saying is, I don't think necessarily that Black people get into this family values back just because of homosexuality, although that is there. I think if you poll most Black people, you're going to see that most people they believe in a man and a woman in a household raising kids. They believe that most Black people, if you're gay, then that's your business, but keep it to yourself. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that that's how most Black people, for the most part, live and let live. And this is my totally unscientific theory. I'm just saying that that's how most people tend to live their life. I think that's how most people tend to live their lives. There's people who capitalize on this stuff and they try to say that homosexuality is going to drag America to hell, or having children out of wedlock means you're an unfit culture and everything, and you need and you're a degenerate culture. I get that. What I'm saying is most people don't really put the stuff into their world that much. Most people are trying to figure out, how can I pay my bills? How can I get myself taken care of? How can I take care of my kids? That's what I mean by conservative. I don't mean they're like the Charlie Kirk conservatives. I'm talking about the people who are just trying to live and be financial. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's real funny that, like, they're conservative. They just think that there should be a man and a woman in the house, blah blah blah. Except for even the ones that don't have a man and the woman in the house.
Well, I mean, but what I was thinking though, I was thinking that I don't think he had a problem as much with that. I think it was, and again, from when I went and listened to it, I think he wasn't expecting it when he was taking his grandkid to this movie. I think he feels like that's not appropriate for what's supposed to be a rated G movie, right? Like, I think that's what he was saying. And again, I don't need to defend him or condemn him on it at all, right? I like when I read it, like I read the headline and the headlines were more salacious, and then I went and watched it, and it was just kind of like to me, it was like a throwaway part of the conversation, but I think it does.
Yeah, because there's no such thing as a throwaway if you're globally famous, there's no such thing as a throwaway line. Most of what you say can actually, and you've lived long enough. I mean, he's old enough to have lived long enough to know there's people like him who've caught cases for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time because they snitch on themselves, or they just come short of snitching on themselves, talking a little too loose or whatever. Right. This is just known. You're not just a grandfather. If you were just a grandfather, you can say whatever you want, right? Like, you're not just having a conversation in your living room. You have homies that have been brought up on charges because they weren't paying attention to what they were saying or whatever.
Well, he also, murder was the case was a real thing. Like,
he beat a case for murder. He made a case himself. So I mean, yeah.
He was on trial for murder. Like, let's just like.
I mean, you're only making my case. You're only making my case a little easier here. I mean, like, okay, Judas, like you were on trial for murder, but two women kissing there. Like, I am sure he didn't watch some explicit.
I guess what I was saying, Chris. I guess what I was saying, Chris, is if there was a drive-by shooting in this same very movie, I would expect him in the same turn to be like, I'm taking my grandbaby to this thing, and there's a damn drive-by shooting in a G movie. Like, I don't know, but again, I'm just saying, like, when I look at Snoop, I don't take it's like what you said, Torin. I don't look at my celebrities for like guidance in other places outside of the realm of what they do. And I just think that that's interesting. Like I remember when him and Martha Stewart was doing their thing, and they had the funny little commercial where, you know, one of us is a federal, but like one of us is like was federally indicted, right? Like it is like, and I'm not the felon. Snoop's not the felon. Like Martha Stewart's the felon. They would have fun with that. I mean, look, I think I get it. I don't have any strong arguments against anything that you said, Chris. I think that the hypocrisy is glaring. I think that it's a funny moment in social media where something like you represent these things so very clearly, you know what I'm saying, that it's like Gene Simmons complaining about a kiss somewhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you stuck your tongue out at everything else, but not at the G-rated movie, sir. Like, bro, Kiss has been in G-rated, you know, like they've been represented. But I think
he's a good example too. He did a Snoop. He had a Snoop moment multiple times. I don't know if y'all know this, but Gene Simmons from Kiss, who has bragged about having over 3,000 women or whatever, blah, 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 and all this type of stuff, is actually a conservative. And he's a Fox News conservative. And he went all off about the BLM stuff and, you know, about the riots and all this type of stuff. Now, this is a dude who since the 70s has lived this crazy, you know, weird lifestyle. But a bridge too far is black people fighting for their rights, right? Like that's a bridge too far. That's America going to hell.
But these people get older, Chris. Like again, one is a 19-year-old person that's making
get older, bro. Like some people get older, they just like they count their money still. Right?
I mean, they still count their money, but like, again, right? Like I said, I think he would have the same response if there was a drive-by shooting. Like I think he is just deeming that this is inappropriate in a G-rated movie, and I don't want to. And I feel like I should have known that going into the movie. That's how I heard it.
But you know what, though? Something else we got to think about too. That goes back to what Chris said. A lot of times, filmmakers, especially animated filmmakers, are trying so hard to try to get the. Right. You know, look, you make a movie, you want to get the biggest audience you can. So if you're working on animated films, a lot of them are trying to skirt the line to figure out what works and what doesn't, and how can we appeal to adults with a humor that they like, and kids the stuff that they like. And one example of that, remember that movie Sausage Party that came out? That a lot of parents took their kids.
It's a wild movie, bro.
But check it out. Remember, there was a big controversy because a lot of kids.
The food is having an orgy, bro.
But check it out though. No, that's what I'm saying. A lot of parents took their kids to that movie thinking it was a Pixar movie, something like that. They found out it's about swingers and an orgy and shit like that.
It was not Pixar. And then they got a show. The show is on Amazon, bro. The show is wilder, bro. Like, but see it that like you got duped. But it's like, well, maybe it's a mistake that this is an R-rated movie in this cartoon. No, that's not a mistake, bro. But
it's
again,
it's a movie about an animated swingers resort. So I mean, and people didn't pick up on it. They took their kids.
It's a wild. But again, but
you know what? Like, listen, too. This is becoming. First of all, I just want to say, conservatives, y'all lost the culture a long time ago. And the reason why you are so out crazy and MAGA crazy the way that you are, and you will all be a footnote to history. I just want you to know. But the reason you're so crazy on these things is because you know for a fact you already lost the culture. Years ago, you realized that the sexual revolution was a problem, that people not wanting to get married like they used to was a problem, that people not wanting to have babies the same way is a problem. These are all things that and not wanting to go to church every day and every week the way that you did. The whole little kind of white supremacist toolkit that you had back in the day to keep everybody as being little social soldiers or whatnot. You know, years ago, you lost that. That's why you put hundreds of millions of dollars over the last 3-4 decades trying to recoup any type of culture you could and create a culture of resistance against the counterculture. The counterculture tore all your stuff up. Rock and roll, Jimi Hendrix, all that type of stuff was the end of everything. It was the beginning and the end of everything. The Black Panthers, the whole civil rights thing, the interracial marriage thing, the gay marriage thing, all of it was tearing up your house because it was all counterculture. You owned the culture, all the little bombs, all the little schools, all the little churches, all that little stuff. And then people were like, you know, I kind of like liquor stores. And, you know, this heroin stuff ain't so bad. And, you know, I kind of like having 4 different girlfriends. And, you know, blah, blah. Now, all that countercultural stuff whooped your ass. So you spent years spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to create a counterculture to the counterculture. And that's why you have all this MAGA stuff right now. But it will be short-lived because, see, the natural inclination of people is to always liberalize and want to do more than they're told that they can do. So if you tell me I can only have one woman my entire life, guess what I'm going to want to do? If you tell me I can only go to one type of anything, guess what I'm going to want to do? That's why they fight so hard right now. They're so desperate. That's what's anti-DEI.
I know, but I don't know how we got to MAGA because we was talking about Snoop, and I don't think Snoop is MAGA. Like I think we, I
think he's MAGA adjacent. I think he's definitely.
I don't think he's MAGA adjacent at all.
Why would you go to a MAGA ball? Why would you?
He went to a crypto ball.
He went to a MAGA crypto ball that was held by the attorney. That was held by the attorney that Trump hired.
And he is invested over there. Like he went.
Money adjacent. That's what Snoop is.
Yeah, like
lots of people turn that invitation down who are also invested.
That's fine. But I mean, and that's their choice. But I don't think he's a MAGA. I don't think there's anybody that'll be like he's a MAGA guy. Like, and this is what when I get into when they talk about Ice Cube. I mean, and I just disagree with you. I love you, but I disagree. Like when they try to say Ice Cube is MAGA, Ice Cube is just Ice Cube, bro. Like if you listen to Ice Cube from the first album, Ice Cube feels the same. Ice Cube has never liked any president.
I'm not talking about their albums. I'm talking about literally going into business. I'm talking about literally going into business with MAGA people. He went into Steve Bannon.
It's lucrative. That's all they care about. That's what I keep trying to tell you, man.
It could be lucrative without Steve Bannon.
No, lucrative. I mean, look.
I don't listen. Like I said, I think
I don't know how to unpack that one. Because
this is where we start to lose the plot, though, right? Because we know good and well there are MAGA people. We know black conservatives that are like MAGA people, right? That believe in that stuff. Snoop Dogg is just not one of those people. And again, like he's not like in any way, shape, or form. Now, what he is he's a grandfather now. And again, he got caught off guard and had to explain some shit, and he wasn't prepared to. And then he got asked about something on the podcast, and that was the answer. It's the same way I grew up on Little Kim. I shouldn't have been listening to Little Kim when I was younger. Little Kim helped me become a man when I was in middle school. But that's like Little Kim right now. If she saw a little 15-year-old girl saying, "You got to cover up, baby," and it's like you telling, like, how do you? But it's Little Kim is 60-some years old now. It's different. Like I
was just in your city. I was just in Chicago yesterday, in your city, and
we love having you here, brother.
And someone said to me, someone who I trust and who's very Chicago and understands Chicago very well,
right,
told me about how Trump pardoned one of the most revered black criminals in Chicago history, right? And it turns out he did the same thing with the Detroit mayor, and it turns out he did the same thing. Like his attorney, it turns out his attorney is the same attorney that does a lot of hip hop cases. And all of a sudden, a whole bunch of hip hoppers, during the election last year, were starting to flip for some reason. And they were starting to show up to things that they normally wouldn't show up to. And some of them got some pretty suspicious pardons and blah, 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 whatever, whatnot. But there's one guy behind it, one dude. There's like an attorney, one attorney dude who represents a lot of these folks or whatnot. Now, I don't know what it takes to qualify whether somebody really is or really isn't. But I know it's not listening to their albums that does it. I do know that there's some stuff you're not going to find Denzel wrapped up in. There's some stuff you're not going to find Paris. You and I talked about Paris today.
If you want to talk about, Denzel Washington, they call him a conservative all the time because he will talk to you about Jesus quickly. He will talk to you about Jesus.
Very quickly. I would argue that like we're having a fight over who owns Jesus. Like listen, I don't think that Jesus makes you a conservative.
I'm saying,
I will say that like putting money into Steve Bannon's pocket is kind of a long way to go the wrong direction.
Here's the thing, Chris. You cannot apply your absolutes and your morality to somebody else. That's all I'm saying. He's going to do it.
I can.
No, brother. Look, I'm trying to tell you, brother. I'm trying to tell you how I don't know Snoop from a man in the moon, but I know his career. And I'm telling you, if you got a check for Snoop, he going. That's really all that is. I don't think it's political. I don't think it's anything by the fact that if they got to have $1 million for me to perform, guess what I'm going to be. I think that's really all it is.
I agree with you 100%, 110% that for some people, that if there's a check involved, they will go. And I disagree 100% that that's everybody. As a matter of fact, we all know there are people that turn those invitations down based on who it is. We learned from the first Trump inauguration that for some people it might not be all that smart to think, oh, this is just a check.
And they still won't let Chris and Michelle do an album. Y'all gotta let Chris and Michelle come back, man. That's the voice of an angel.
I
don't think it's fair that they did that to her either, right? But Chris, but again.
I thought all was fair, No, but it's not consequence free. I mean, yeah, you can take the check, but there's no such thing as a free check.
I mean, listen, I hear
Snoop's,
you.
no, but here's the thing: Snoop's audience is different than Chrisette Michelle's audience. Chrisette Michelle is sort of like that Erykah Badu light, where it's all about peace and love and everybody be loving and free. And Trump is the antithesis of that. Snoop came out the gate saying 187 on the undercover copy with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. That has not changed in 30 years. So it's not going to change because of this right now.
Yeah.
So I guess he must then be very okay with the current law enforcement regime then that Trump is putting in place.
But you know he's not. Like I mean, listen, I put like.
Well, I mean, what he just said, 187 on an undercover cop. Well, then it should be 187 on this president, right?
I mean, I think we can
put cops in your neighborhood. He's putting cops on your street.
I think these are some Chamberlain level reaches, brother. But I got you. I get the point. I'm
sure you do, my brother. But I'm just telling you, when this man puts people on the streets of Chicago, who are you gonna be with?
You said what?
When this president puts people on the ground from Mississippi and several southern states, I think it's
gonna go really bad. Actually, I think it's a lot of guns in Chicago. I think it's gonna go really, really bad. And I think but I'm not putting that at the feet of Snoop Doggy Dogg. I think that
let's say they do a concert there. They do a concert there and they invite him and he goes.
Because we're turning a topic about a man out with his grandchild who got shocked by something and had a throwaway comment into a larger political ascertainment of like he's doing some undercut support of Steve Bannon. That's just a reach.
Let
me clear that up. Just to be clear.
Y'all can't talk over each other. Hold on, Chris. What did you say, Torrin? What was your part?
I said Trump is not consulting Snoop about where to put troops in the National Guard in Compton and Chicago.
And he's not listening to him. Go ahead, Chris. I just couldn't hear both of y'all.
Well, two things. I feel like all that's just disingenuous because no, he's not, and no one's asking him about his theory on global politics or nothing like that. It's more simple than that. With everything that Trump is doing right now in this country to attack Black people, if him or his people host a concert somewhere, it's just all about whether or not it's smart to say, well, I'm not rich enough already. I just need to go do this check thing for the person who's right now actively trying to kill Black people everywhere we go. Because, I'm just a hip hopper. I like to just go, listen, Nelly's collecting his justice for that stupid way of thinking and being washed out like he is and taking.
But Nelly never said he supported Trump. He never said he supported Trump. He never said that.
So he got
invited to perform and he took it.
His feedback to me sounded an awful lot like somebody that doesn't have a PR person for Black people. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It sounded like he just sounded like somebody that has gotten too low on the totem pole to have a good PR person for Black people.
I just think that. I hear you. I think that this Snoop thing has been a tool of projection to make a larger point that I don't think. Let me finish.
I'm the one who made this point, and it wasn't a reach. It was just to say.
But I'm saying I hear you. Wait, let me respond. I hear you. And it could be stupid, and we can disagree. I'm not annoyed. You can critique what Snoop said, what Snoop did, all those things. What I'm saying is, I don't think that he's a part of some larger schema to be a Trump supporter. And I think that when we go to this place, we can lose people. And he could be like, bro, I think that was stupid. You shouldn't have did that. That was a really dumb move. And I think that's fair to say. But I also don't think that somebody as a grandfather that had this thing and got shocked and you asked him and he gave his honest opinion, which is what rappers are supposed to do, is always keep it real. I think it's something that we just move on with if it's not a slow news day. I don't think it's news. I think he's just saying, he feels like this is being pushed on the children. And there's a lot of people that feel that way. I'm not saying I feel that way. I'm not saying that you feel that way, but that is a valid argument that is out there where people feel that certain things are being force fed to them and they don't have any control over it. That's
yeah. I just feel like you're giving Snoop way too much power and way too much, even though he's powerful and influential. I think you're making a jump from one thing to the other where, what he said about, LGBT is different than this other. Bro, listen to what I'm saying. I understand I understand that Trump set you off like Red Herring does with Fred on Scooby Doo and everything, but trust me,
No, he don't set me off. He don't set me off. The world is on fire right now.
Brother,
You know.
just let me finish. What I'm saying is, I think one thing, they can be connected, but I don't think one influences the other to the point where it's that powerful and everything. I feel this is just Snoop collecting a check for something. Snoop saying something that maybe he didn't, I won't even say he didn't think through. He just gave his opinion. People picked that out of the store and ran with it, like you said, and then that's what it is. I don't think it's part of some global conspiracy to enslave the rest of the world under Trump. I just
I heard.
I just want to keep like rescuing my point because I don't want people saying things that I didn't say.
Okay, and if I did that, I apologize because I
did not say anything about some global thing, this little thing
turning
into a global thing. And I just want to be very clear. What I said very clearly was he had this little situation over here, and I thought it was interesting and funny because if me personally, I had to pick out anything that I would be outraged about more, it would be less of two women kissing in a movie. It'd be more of the fact that he was paid a lot of money to go to that crypto ball during the Trump stuff, right? And for Trump people. And I'm not the only one who called that out. And I think you know, he got called out on that. That was, and it wasn't because we think he's part of some big conspiracy that is bigger than that. It was just because that one choice was dumb enough for it to, in isolation, be dumb enough when the whole world is paying attention to what's going on. Now, listen, no one has to agree with me, but I do think most people who are paying attention to what's happening in the world right now are not making light of the things that are actually taking place, the power shifts and the power moves and whatever. So what I would just ask people to do is do your own research. Do your own research about who's being paid to do what, when, where, and how, and the choices of how Black celebrities, some of them are making some very smart, shrewd choices not to do what Nelly and Snoop and some other people are doing. And there will always be in the world, just like in MAGA world, there will always be people that let you get away with anything. They will find a way to throw you bail for anything. I'm just not one of those people. There is some things that are a bright black line between your people and the world. And if people aren't paying attention to politics and what's going on in the world, that's fine for them. But I feel like Nelly is paying a price. I feel like Snoop will probably pay some form of a price with people that are actively involved in what's going on in the world right now. And I feel like right now we have people like federalizing DC, about to federalize Chicago, cutting people off of shit that they need, making sure that people aren't getting all of what they're owed and due, and
I get that,
hiring people left and right and whatnot. It's okay.
Being mad at the
middle of all of that, my most favorite celebrity shows up.
How does it you know, how does it tie into Snoop being mad at this movie?
How does what?
How does this tie into Snoop being mad at this movie?
I feel like I just explained that.
No, what you did was, and I think you made a great point, but that was
I just think it's interesting. I just think it's interesting that one of these things is way more outrageous than the other. That's my point. The point that I made is I feel like one of these things is like, listen, you go to a Klan meeting versus you didn't like two women kissing. I feel like I'm just like matching those things.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I feel like, you know, well, listen, if y'all can use hyperbole, I can use hyperbole too.
I got you. I understand.
But my point is he made a whole career on doing things that you could measure out and be like, really? This is your thing? That's the point that I made.
And that's the point that I make. The point that I'm making is I don't take notes from Snoop in those ways. I'm not taking notes from the man who was on trial for murder. I'm not taking notes from the man that has porn videos. Like I'm not taking I'm not taking my moral lessons from Snoop Dogg, is what I'm saying.
So we talked about the woman in Minnesota, and we talked about her. I'm not taking morality lessons from a woman who calls a black child a nigger on the playground, but I am going to say something when she does it.
But what I'm saying is the higher level of thinking of connecting these dots up here to all these people and Steve Bannon and that, like, that's a different level than something right here in your face and immediate of calling a young black boy a nigga as a white person with black people around. I think those are different things. I think there's a reaction. I think that's a very different thing. I get what you're saying. I don't disagree.
What's different though? I don't get what you're saying about that. You think that like
I'm saying
hanging out with Steve Bannon.
Let me tell you.
Doing worse things.
Here we go again.
Worse things than calling black people niggas. You think hanging out with him and going into business with him?
I don't think he hung out with him. I think he went to a gig that he got paid for that his homie put on. Like,
The thing about Steve Bannon,
Steve Bannon
came out
doesn't have anything to
because
do with this movie, is what I'm saying. We still
and he
Actually,
wasn't there for Steve Bannon. He has a different friend. Snoop is explaining this himself. He has a different friend who was doing something with this, and he's invested in it. Again, the critique is fair, Chris. I'm not disagreeing with your ability to critique, but the difference in this white woman calling a black boy a nigga on a playground with black people in the vicinity is right and immediate in your face. Like, everybody's not as politically astute. Everybody's not on that plane. Everybody's not politicizing everything. And again, I know you would call those people stupid, and you have a right to. I actually don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, when I read these headlines about Snoop, I thought Snoop went out of his way to make this statement. I thought Snoop was doing something else. And then I watched the clip, and I was like, he's just in a conversation on a podcast that's a throwaway podcast. You can't tell me the name of the podcast. You can't tell me the host of the podcast. You can't tell me how many episodes they did. What somebody did is they clipped a piece of Snoop because they knew what social media would do, and it would make this shit work. That's all I'm saying. And you're not wrong in your assessment of what you think we should be doing and how we should be acting and what black celebrities should be doing. That's a very fair criticism. But there is a leap that was made from, like, when we talking about Snoop to, like, I don't need everybody to go do their research. Like, the nigga just didn't like the movie, bruh. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to keep correcting the record. I didn't make any leap. I made a very clear point of, I think it's funny where your line is drawn on what to be outraged about. Your outrage line is being drawn at two women kissing when you've made an entire career of other things that people have brought to Congress to try and get you rated on. This like, we've been through this, like, Dolores Tucker, the whole thing about going to Congress, to get your albums rated and whatnot, blah, blah. It's just ironic to me. That's not a leap to say you've made an entire career of outrageous things.
Brother, it's not,
and this is the one you get outraged about.
I've been kind of quiet on this for the past few minutes, but what I'm saying is, I think it is sort of a leap, because we're talking about one man's opinion about a movie and a scene in the movie that he didn't like. And I feel like to take that and extrapolate that particular, his feeling on that, into this whole thing where we're talking about, if things don't change, and if we don't move the needle about how the way black celebrities move, then it's going to be like General Hux blowing up planets on the Star Wars movie. I just feel like they're both valid points, but they're two totally separate things, and I don't think they're connected to this degree. Is all I'm saying.
And when we say and outrage was a strong
I can't do nothing with it. So
I hear you.
Like,
I mean,
I made my point. My main point was that they're not connected. My main point was, I just think it's ironic for the person who is doing some shit that I think is imminently more serious, right? Imminently more serious, to have this other problem. Right, like that to me is not really.
Well, Chris, I agree with you from the gate. I agree with you that the person outraged has porns and was on trial for murder, and like, it's the hypocrisy of it, right? But again, if Snoop had came out, like, if Snoop made a big deal about it, if Snoop was like, boycott these movies, if Snoop was like trying to use all his power to get that out the way, I thought that when you read the headlines, it's making it seem like he took this incredibly vested interest.
Yeah.
It was just
like he went on a rant or something.
It was just a throwaway line. Like, we've had 8,000 throwaway lines in this. I agree with you though, Chris, around, like, now if we have a larger conversation about the responsibility of celebrities in this time, we can have that conversation. I think that you're absolutely right. Like, I'm not actually even fighting you on this. I think that the point that you're making is an astute one, and I think it's a good one. I just was struggling to see, like, because it's Snoop. Like, it's like the contradictions that are flying rampant are hilarious. Like, I don't even take it seriously, because I'm not listening to a Snoop political rant on anything. Only on weed, only on his legalization of weed. That's the only thing. But outside of it, I'm not.
The last thing he said that I could really get behind politically was when he really took up for Kobe Bryant after the situation with Lisa Leslie and Gail. I respected that.
When Gail was pressing to get him to say something bad about Kobe right after he died.
Yeah, that was foul. You know what I mean? And then to bring it back and make a little bit of levity, it was funny seeing Oprah on the Today Show a couple of days later. She's not well. She's lost. She won't come out of the house and everything like that. I mean, but I'm just saying that to say that, you can say what you want to say. I just think we have to put the stuff in the context. I see Snoop as an entertainer. I know I don't see any more than that. I think he's entertaining. I love his music. I love his music since Doggy Style came out, and even the Chronic before that. Beyond that, I don't need nothing else beyond that. I don't take nothing beyond that serious. He didn't like the movie, fine. He performed at what's the name? Fine, I don't see it no more than that. It's a check. There's things that are way more sinister and serious than who Snoop gets paid to perform for, in my opinion. That's all I got.
Yeah, Snoop is not a serious actor to me. I mean, I hope he has a good life. I've met him before. He's a really cool dude. He's a nice guy, but I'm not going to a movie for Snoop Dogg ever. Like, I'm just not doing it. He's not good at it. So I get what you're saying. I just was like, and I get the larger point. I think the larger point is valid. I just don't know if Snoop is the horse to carry us into there. I think because here's the thing: if there's an issue that's actually impacting Black people that's right in his face, germane to it, like the Kobe Bryant thing, I do think Snoop for the most part would do the right thing. I do think Nelly for the most part would do the right thing. There are other people. There are Black people that actually hate Black people, though. There are Black people that's like, they deserve X, Y, and Z. Like, and I think I think Jason Whitlock is in a different camp of like hating himself and who Black people are, right? I think this is somebody that's got way more power in this situation and probably didn't expect this to have the type of blowback. But it'll be a thing for a few weeks and then it'll go away until you do something else stupid, which again, he might. You know what I'm saying? Because how can you not do something stupid if you're a celebrity and you are now being held accountable as if you are this super smart, like he's not Mark Lamont Hill. He doesn't have the political, he's not politically astute in that same way and is in making those kind of conscious decisions. But it's because I'm not even arguing with you. I don't even fully disagree with you. It was just the connection. That's all. I don't want you to feel like I'm twisting your words because I'm not trying to. I just don't.
I just want to be clear. Y'all do disagree with me and my major points of what I'm saying, and that's fine. Like, that's fine.
What are the major points you think we disagree on?
I just have my own points, right? Like, listen.
Yeah, and that's
we are in the
cool.
middle of a situation right now, and celebrities and non-celebrities and business people or whatnot, you can make choices. You can make choices, and I hope people hold you accountable for your choices. These aren't stupid people.
But what big choice did you just make is what I'm saying. Like, what big choice of consequence did
I don't want to relitigate it, but
make?
I just will say he got all the adequate kind of attention for performing at Trump's ball after other people declined it, just like everybody did. I don't buy that it was just because he's invested in crypto and any of that type of shit. There's a lot of people invested in crypto.
So you think he's like a Trumper?
I don't even need to make that leap. All I have to say is he went and took that money and he went to that thing when other people turned it down for good reason, because they were smart enough to know that this is a person who is actively trying to kill Black people right now, who is actively trying to rob Black people of every little bit of their dignity, their history, their legacy, their laws, their protections, everything. So the idea that you don't have enough money, that you need to go and cavort with anybody having something who's an actively in the moment, actively coming after your people. Listen, that's a choice. I know for a fact where I would be on that right now, because you can hear it in my voice how strongly I am about. There's some meetings I don't need to go to. There's some places I don't need to go. I don't need to do everybody's everything. And as a matter of fact, the richer you get, the less you need to go to everybody's everything. As a matter of fact, it does come down to some choices, whatever. But listen, we're just all different people. I would not form a basketball league with Steve Bannon and his business partners. That don't make any sense.
I get it, Chris. Here's the thing with that, and this is all I got to say about it, Chris. But the only thing I want you to understand, brother, is that Snoop, like I said, I don't know Snoop from the Man in the Moon, but I do know this. People who are like that don't care about that shit you're talking about, bro. It's just they just want their check and they want to get paid. And I'm just saying, this ain't me talking about. This is how people think. A lot of this stuff, a lot of these moral conundrums that you putting on top of this, these people don't care about none of that, bro. They want their bread. That's it. That's really all it is. They ain't thinking no further.
And I'm not disagreeing with you on that, though.
Right.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, because the people who sold us out in many different ways, that's exactly the mentality that they had.
Somebody just DM me and asked what happened or what Snoop said, so I just found it. Here's what Snoop said in his own words. I DJ'd at the crypto ball for 30 minutes. I made a whole bunch of money. I made a lot of relationships to help the inner city and teach financial literacy, Snoop said. That's 30 minutes. I've been doing great things for the community for 30 years. So which one is it? 30 for 30. He insisted that the event wasn't politically motivated. I don't represent the Republican Party. I don't represent the Democratic Party. I represent the gangster party, period. The book, and he explained, came through longtime business partner David Sachs and was part of a broader crypto initiative meant to bring resources back to the hood. Cool, I'm with you. You're helping the hood out. How does the hate work when I'm trying to help y'all, but y'all talking trash? That was him in his own words. I mean, we can all agree. I just want somebody asked what actually happened, so I just wanted to
I
make
just
sure
want
I
to
found
correct a couple things for the record, because you could litigate this all day, and we could pull up a lot of sources about who all these kids. And that's why earlier I told people to go and do your own research, because it's really interesting when you start falling down the rabbit hole about how people are connected to each other, and which people are connected to each other. And I think it will be very interesting to a lot of people that there are people in hip hop, the world that we think is so independent and gangster and all that, who are actually cavorting and in business deals and in business arrangements with some of the craziest list of criminals and folks on the other side of us. But that aside, because I don't even want to go through all that right now, because all we're going to do is like pull up exculpatory information for Trump right now.
I just want to let
whoever
the man
this is in the
speak for
comments who
himself.
said dude is an alarmist liberal, right? I don't know who.
Oh, somebody said that. Hold on, wait. Go
dude
ahead.
is an alarmist liberal, and if Trump is doing all this, what's wrong with the Democratic Party? Blah 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 blah. Let's just be clear. I'm not a liberal. I've been a liberal. So.
Do your thing, Chris. Right. Go ahead, brother. I got
so
your back.
we just go straight up. I'm a libertarian. I've never been a liberal, right? Never been a progressive, never been a liberal, and never been a Democrat, actually. So let's just get this straight right here before we start throwing around. Because listen, what I am is a stupid detector, right? I detect stupid, right? And I detect stupid by what people say. I've never been any of these things. Right now, if Trump is doing all this stuff, I don't even need to go any further. It's a stupid premise. If Trump is doing all this stuff, if you don't know what Trump is doing right now, we're not ready for this conversation. That's all I can say. I actually don't argue with fools, right? If Trump is doing all this stuff is a sentence that lets me know that you have some graduating to do before we can have this conversation, because the world has a lot of things going on right now. There's a lot of things going on right now, and the majority of them aren't being paid attention to, but they will come to bite us in the ass when we finally figure it out. That's the whole thing. Now, who's going to be the last man standing? Who's going to be the one who'll be like, damn, I didn't even see that they were coming for our children, coming for our women, coming for our communities, coming for our scholars, coming for our schools, coming for our libraries, coming for our standing in America, coming to make us a what we call in the last show that we had a legacy minority. Y'all used to be one of the moral leading voices of the country and minorities. We replaced you. You're now in paused status. That's all happening right now. There is no if Trump is doing all this shit, whatever. So anyways, I just thought I would give a commercial for smart over stupid. And that was my commercial. Because right now, if you are not paying attention, you will pay a price. Attention is like the least expensive thing you can pay right now. Inattention is the thing that's going to cost your ass a lot of money. A lot of everything. So anyway, that's just me. I'm just wondering.
Hey Chris, get it off. I love it, bro. I'm with you, man. I think this was another great episode, and I love that we can have these conversations, and I think it was dope. On the way out, I know Torin, you got to go. We're gonna shut it down. Miss L. Michelle said, "Are y'all gonna talk about Travis and what's that other lady name?
Oh hell no,
Taylor? No. Why? Hey, congratulations to them white. That's white right. People's business. Congratulations to them. Go be happy. I don't know why black women are up in arms about
look here.
White man marrying a white woman. But
all I gotta say about that, there's a whole demographic that's going.
They losing their mind, bro.
And more than's going to fill up their
content.
That's
the same demographic that if they see a black man dating a white woman, they lose their mind. So I don't care what they doing. But I did enjoy this episode, man. I love these topics, and as always, man, please go check out the fellas. Go check everybody out. Chris, where can they find you?
Citizen at substack.com.
And go read his stuff, man. The man can write his ass off. Torin, where can they find you, brother?
X, Torin Walker, also torinwalker.com, torinwalker.substack.com. Stay tuned to the Black Men's Studies sessions every week, me and Dr. Tommy Curry.
Man, and hopefully we'll see Chris on there soon, and I'm gonna keep supporting. Y'all can find me on X at @CCole3, @CCOLEII, and I'm on Substack as well. All of our Substack is down there. That's at Dr. Charles Cole III. We all write, we all do work, but here's the thing: we should be able to have these type of conversations. Be intelligent black people that disagree at times, but we got a lot of love for each other. We got to start changing this tide, man. This has been 3 the Hard Way, and we will see you all next time. Peace. God bless.